My beloved child, listen to my voice in the midst of this chaotic age. Humanity has gone too far on its journey of worshiping itself. They have built towers of knowledge, filled them with the treasures of the world, and called it strength. They believe that if they can only hold power in their hands, their souls will be at peace. Yet the more they chase the false light of the world, the emptier their hearts become. Humanity has learned how to reach the stars through technology, yet no longer knows how to bow down and care for its own soul. They speak of faith with their lips, but their hearts wander through the cold fields of pride and indifference. Therefore, I allow shakings to appear between heaven and earth, not to destroy, but to awaken. As it is written, "Be still, and know that I am God," in Psalm 46:10. I am drawing humanity out of its trance of noise, so that they may hear again the call from eternity. There are those who think everything is still normal simply because they still wake up each morning, still see the sunlight, and still continue the familiar cycles of life. But my child, beneath that appearance of stability, the soul of the world is cracking. I see weary hearts trying to smile in the dark. I see souls weighed down by anxiety, yet hiding behind achievements and laughter. Humanity has learned how to decorate its pain instead of healing it. They build magnificent houses, yet leave the deepest room of their hearts covered in cold dust. Therefore, I allow the things once thought to be unshakable to begin trembling, so that people may understand that no foundation can endure forever unless it is set upon my truth. As Hebrews 12:27 declares, what can be shaken will be removed, so that what belongs to eternity may remain. I do not tear down to make you lose hope. I clear away what is temporary, so that you may find again what is real. My child, do not be afraid when you see the upheavals of this age. Do not let your soul be drowned by the shouting of the world. I have never left my throne. Even when the sea roars and the mountains tremble, my hand is still upholding those who place their trust in me. The storms the world is going through are not the end, but the cry of creation shifting into a new travail. Just as a seed must break open before it can grow into a tree, humanity must also pass through shakings in order to learn again how to return to the true source of life. There are things you once thought were safe, but in truth, they were only gilded cages. There are things you once feared losing, but in truth, they were keeping your soul far from me. And because my love for you is greater than temporary comfort, I will not allow you to sleep peacefully in what is slowly killing your soul. Remember the story of King Josiah in the Bible. When he was still very young, he entered the temple and discovered that the book of my law had been covered in dust, forgotten among the people. The people still kept their rituals, still had the temple, still called upon my name, but their hearts had drifted far from the truth. When Josiah heard my word being read, he tore his garments in anguish and began to lead the people back to holiness. My child, this age is the same. Many people still preserve the outward form of faith, but their souls have fallen asleep. They have allowed the voice of ambition to become louder than my voice. They have allowed fear to govern them instead of faith. But I am doing what I did in the days of Josiah. I am opening again the book that has been covered in dust within the hearts of men. I am calling every soul back to the truth, not through cold religion, but through a living relationship with me and my beloved child. Do not think that I delight in the shaking. A father does not rejoice when he must violently shake the shoulders of a child sleeping inside a burning house. But true love cannot stand still and watch what is precious be destroyed. I do not want you to continue placing your trust in the fragile things of this world, only to be shattered when they collapse. I want you to root yourself more deeply in me, for a tree with deep roots will not fall when the storm comes. Blessed is the man who trusts in the Lord, whose confidence is in him. As Jeremiah 17, 7 declares, when your heart is anchored in me, you will no longer live by the panic of the crowd. You will learn how to stand still in the midst of the storm while your soul remains at peace. I know there are times when you look at the world and wonder why darkness seems to spread farther than light. But my child, never forget that even a single small lamp is enough to drive back the darkness. I am preparing a generation that knows how to live by genuine faith, not by an outward shell of morality. I am awakening souls that life has hardened. I am calling back those who once wandered far away. And it is in these very days of shaking that many will, for the first time, truly kneel down and seek me with all their hearts. There are doors that only open through tears. There are souls that awaken only through pain. But when they return, I will not reject them. Just as the Father ran to embrace the prodigal son in Luke 15, so my arms are also stretched wide toward humanity. My beloved child, let your heart become a true dwelling place for me. Do not seek me only in beautiful words or outward rituals. Seek me in stillness, in humility, in those moments when you sincerely open your soul before me. For what I seek is not lips that merely memorize holy words, but hearts that know how to love, how to repent, and how to walk in the light. When the world trembles, many will run searching for shelter, but blessed are those who have already learned to take refuge in me beforehand. For they shall stand firm like Mount Zion, never to be shaken. And then, in the midst of this age, filled with shouting and chaos, your life itself will become a living testimony that true peace does not come from everything around you being calm, but from my presence being with you. My beloved child, what I am calling you into is not fear, but a deep awakening of the soul. Do not let your heart be swept away by the panic of the world. For many will run back and forth, searching for refuge in visible things. They will believe that money can protect them, that high walls can keep them safe, that power or knowledge will enable them to stand firm in the days of shaking. But my child, everything built by human hands has its limits. Only I am the eternal rock that never changes. Therefore, instead of building fortresses of material things for yourself, allow me to build within you a living altar. Let your heart become the place where I dwell. For the soul that abides in me will not be drowned, even when the seas of life rise in fury. As it is written in Psalm 91, he who dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. This is not merely a promise for an ancient age, but the breath of life for the very days you are walking through now. There are many who lift their eyes searching for signs in the heavens while forgetting that the clearest sign is already present within their own hearts. I see the silent unrest spreading throughout humanity. The things that once made them feel secure no longer have the strength to sustain them. There are souls who laugh and speak among crowds, yet deep within remain as empty as a house without light. They sense that something is changing, yet they try to fill their uneasiness with more noise, more pleasures, and more distractions. My child, when the soul begins to waver between light and darkness, between truth and deception, it is a sign that the shaking is drawing near. But I do not speak these things to fill you with fear. I speak them so that you may awaken. For one soul awakened in me is more at peace than 1,000 who remain asleep in the false security of the world. Remember the story of Noah, who built the ark in an age filled with mockery. While the skies were still blue and the ground still dry, people laughed at him, believing that the warning from heaven was nothing more than a fantasy. But Noah did not build the ark out of fear. He built it out of obedience. Every strike of the hammer was an act of faith. And when the flood waters came, what saved him was not his own strength, but my presence and my guidance. My beloved child, I am also calling you to build an ark within your own soul, even now, not with wood, but with faith, prayer, and a heart firmly bound to me. For the day will come when the things of this world will no longer be enough to sustain the human soul. I hear many voices asking in this age, when will these things happen? What signs will appear? But my child, what matters is not whether you know the exact day or hour, but whether you truly belong to me. There are those who memorize prophecies, yet their hearts remain cold. There are those who speak endlessly about the light, yet their souls are still chained by pride, bitterness, and ambition. Therefore I say, let the preparation begin within. Allow me to cleanse the hidden corners you still conceal. Allow me to heal the places that have grown hardened through disappointment. Allow the fire of my Holy Spirit to ignite within you a genuine love for the truth. As Ephesians 5:14 says, awake, O sleeper, and arise from the dead, and Christ shall give thee light. I am calling humanity to awaken from the spiritual slumber that has lasted far too long. My beloved child, the shaking that is coming will not only be the upheaval of the earth and the heavens, it will go deep into the hearts of men. The things humanity has relied upon will be tested. Masks will fall away. Foundations built upon pride will crack apart. I will shake everything so that the truth may be revealed clearly. Yet, in the midst of this great shifting, I remain the one who never changes. Jesus Christ is the same yesterday, today, and forever. As Hebrews 13:8 declares, while the world changes like dust blown in the wind, my love for you remains unchanged. While hearts are filled with confusion, my hand is still extended toward those who seek me with sincerity. Do not think that the days ahead will be filled only with darkness. No, my child, it is precisely in this time of shaking that the light will shine more powerfully than ever before. When the night is at its darkest, the stars become most visible. I am preparing a people who will stand firm not by their own strength, but by my presence within them. There are those who were once weak, who will become mighty in faith. There are souls who once wandered far away who will return and burn brightly with love for me. Tears of repentance will become rivers of healing. Broken hearts will become new altars upon which my presence descends. Therefore, my beloved child, do not delay your return to me. Do not think you still have endless time to remain asleep in the things that are pulling your soul farther away from me. Stay awake, but not in panic. Prepare yourself, but not in despair. Draw nearer to me each day, for within me there is a peace that the world cannot take away. And then, when everything around you begins to tremble, you will understand that what has kept you standing was never your own strength, but my everlasting arms holding you through every storm. My beloved child, engrave this deeply within your soul. When I allow the things around you to be shaken, I do not do so to crush you, but to separate you from the chains you once mistook for crowns of victory. There are thrones people sit upon and call glory, yet in truth they are built from pride, anxiety, and dependence on the praise of the world. There are doors they call blessings, yet behind them lie cold rooms that draw their souls farther from me with every passing day. Therefore, my love must sometimes come like the fire that refines gold, not to destroy what is precious, but to burn away the impurities hiding its true beauty. As it is written in Malachi 3:3 that I will sit as a refiner and purifier of silver, so I am doing in this age. I am allowing what is false to lose its place, so that what belongs to me may shine forth in purity. Do not be quick to call every collapse a failure. My beloved child, there are things that must fall so that the true foundation can be revealed. There are branches that must be pruned so that the season of fruitfulness may come. When the gardener cuts away what is unnecessary, the tree may feel pain for a moment, yet the life within it is being guided in the right direction. I said in John 15:2 that every branch which bears fruit, I prune so that it may bear even more fruit. Therefore, when I touch the places you have held on to too tightly, do not think that I am taking away your future. I am rescuing that future from being suffocated by things that no longer carry life. I tear down not because I hate what is old, but because I love the new thing I am about to build within you. Look at Gideon, who once trembled in the winepress, believing himself small and weak among an oppressed people. Yet before I used him to deliver Israel, I commanded him to tear down the altar of Baal in his father's house. Do you see? My child, victory on the outside begins with cleansing on the inside. Gideon could not step forward as a deliverer while an altar to falsehood still stood within his home. In the same way, I am moving through churches, families, societies, and individual souls, not merely to repair the surface, but to confront the hidden altars people have built for fear, money, famine, and control. When those altars are torn down, many will think it is loss, but in my eyes, it is the beginning of freedom. There is an invisible shaking taking place. My beloved child, it does not always thunder loudly in the skies, but sometimes moves quietly like a holy unrest within the human heart. Relationships built upon exploitation are beginning to reveal themselves. Beautiful words without truth are beginning to lose their power to persuade. Outward masks of morality can no longer hide the emptiness within. I am separating true gold from counterfeit gold, holy fire from artificial flashes, living faith from confessions that have no roots. As 1 Corinthians 3:13 says, each person's work will be revealed and tested by fire. I am allowing that fire to pass through, not to drive you into despair, but so that you may know what in your life truly belongs to eternity. But hear me clearly, after purification comes rebirth. I do not merely clear away the ashes, I plant within them the seeds of a new season. From places that were once barren, I will cause mercy to grow. From souls exhausted by falsehood, I will raise up people who know how to live honestly before me. They will not bow before the noise of public opinion, nor tremble before the darkness of worldly power. They will carry within themselves the mark of heaven, humility, courage, pure love, and a light that cannot be bought. They will not need to display themselves to prove they belong to me, because the peace within them will testify that I am living within them. Therefore, when you hear news that causes hearts to tremble, when you see society changing, families being tested, churches being purified, and even your own heart passing through deep confrontations, do not rush to conclude that everything is spiraling out of control. No, my child, no wind blows beyond my hand. No season of upheaval exists outside my eternal wisdom. Even when you do not understand the path I am leading you through, trust that I never do anything without purpose. Romans 8:28 declares that all things work together for the good of those who love me. And that word remains true both in days of peace and in hours of shaking. My beloved child, let the shaking draw you closer to me rather than drive you into fear. Enter the secret place with me, where your soul is cleansed from the noise, where your eyes learn to see by faith, where your heart stops clinging to fragile things and begins anchoring itself in the one who never changes. I am rebuilding not only the world around you, but also the house within you. And when the new season unfolds, you will understand that the things I once allowed to break apart were the very walls that had imprisoned you for far too long. I am leading you deeper, cleaner, and more genuine. so that you may not only survive the shaking, but become a steadfast light in an age that desperately needs to see me through your life. My beloved child, I know there have been nights when you lay in silence, wondering why your life had to pass through so much brokenness. There were moments when you looked at the shattered pieces within your heart and believed that I had turned my face away. You called out to me through tears, yet the heavens seemed not to answer immediately, and that silence wounded you more deeply than 1,000 words of rebuke. But my child, my silence has never been a sign of abandonment. Many times, I remain silent so that the noise of the world may no longer drown out the true voice within your soul. For only when the things you once clung to begin slipping from your hands can you finally recognize what has truly been holding you upright all along. There are truths that cannot be learned through reason alone, but can only be understood when the heart walks through the darkness of the night. My beloved child, I know you once wanted me to remove the pain from your life immediately, but if I were to do that too soon, you would continue sleeping peacefully within the very things that are causing your soul to wither. There are vessels that must be broken before the fragrance within them can be released. Remember Mary, the woman who broke the alabaster jar at my feet. That vessel could not remain whole and still pour out its fragrance. In the same way, there are seasons when I allow the hardened shell around your heart to crack open, not to destroy you, but so that the love, tenderness, and light I placed within you may finally flow freely. What you call brokenness is sometimes the very moment your soul truly begins to open before me. I do not awaken you through comfort alone, because humanity often falls asleep within ease and convenience. When everything is too calm, the soul easily begins to live as though it no longer needs to seek me. Yet in the days when you were weakest, when tears became the only language you still knew how to speak, those were the moments you were closer to me than ever before. For then you no longer came to me with memorized words, but with a genuine cry rising from the depths of your heart. The Lord is near to the brokenhearted. Psalm 34, 18 declares, and I was very near to you on the nights when you believed yourself to be the most alone. My beloved child, true awakening is always accompanied by breaking. A seed cannot grow unless its shell breaks apart in the darkness of the soil. A young bird cannot fly unless it bursts through the shell that confines it. And your soul is no different. I know you once wanted to hold on to the old version of yourself, the old habits, the old ways of thinking, the familiar hiding places. But a new season cannot enter your life if you continue lying in the old bed of false security. Therefore, I allow certain doors to close and certain old dreams to fade away, so that you will not continue clinging to what has already passed its appointed time. Remember the story of Jacob wrestling with the angel by the river Jabbok. He entered that night carrying fear and unrest, but he did not emerge as the same man. After that struggle, he carried a wound in his hip, yet he also received a new name and a new destiny. Do you see? My child, there are encounters with me that will leave marks upon your soul. Not every healing restores you to who you once were. Often I heal by transforming you into someone entirely new. Jacob walked with a limp after that night, but he was no longer a man who only knew how to flee. In the same way, you may carry scars from seasons of pain, but I will use the very places that once hurt you to form maturity, compassion, and depth within you. I do not want you to know me only through the stories of others. I do not want your faith to be merely a garment worn on peaceful days. I want you to know me through real encounters, through the moments when you thought you would collapse. Yet I still lifted you up through the times when you had nothing left to hold on to except my promises. That is when faith ceases to be knowledge resting upon the lips and becomes the very breath that sustains the soul. As Job said after his days of suffering, "Before, my ears had heard of you, but now my eyes have seen you. There are things you can only truly see once tears have washed the eyes of your soul clean. My beloved child, do not despise the long nights you have endured. It is within that darkness that I have been deepening the roots of your faith. A great tree does not grow by sunlight alone. It is also strengthened through seasons of storms that force its roots deeper into the earth. I am doing the same within you. I am drawing your soul away from shallow surfaces and leading you into the depth of a true relationship with me. And the day will come when you look back at the brokenness that once made you weep and realize that those very things opened the path for you to encounter me in ways you never had before. Therefore, my child, if your heart still aches today, do not fall into despair. I am not distant from your cries. I am sitting very near to the place where your soul trembles most. I am turning your tears into rivers that water the barren land within you. I am using the very brokenness you feared to awaken you into a new season. And as you continue walking with me through days when you do not yet understand everything, you will slowly discover that the most precious thing is not a life that has never known pain, but that in the midst of every pain, you found me, the one who has never once removed his hand from your life. My beloved child, one day you will understand that true faith is not a path without darkness, but a hand that still holds on to me, even when darkness covers everything before you. Faith is not a heart that has never trembled, but a heart that still whispers to me through the trembling. Father, I trust you. There will be days when you will not understand why a certain door has closed, why a prayer has not yet been answered the way you hoped, or why you must keep walking while your eyes are still blurred with tears. But my child, faith does not require you to see the entire road. Faith simply invites you to take one more step within my presence. Just as Abraham departed without knowing where he was going in Hebrews 11:8, you too will learn that obedience often begins where the mind has no clear answers. Yet the soul still recognizes my voice. Do not think that fear proves you are weak or lacking in faith. I do not despise a trembling heart, so long as that heart does not turn away from me. Peter once walked upon the waters in the midst of the storm, and though he was afraid, he still stepped out of the boat when he heard my call. What made that moment extraordinary was not that the sea instantly became calm, but that a man dared to step onto the impossible simply because I said, "Come, my beloved child." There will also be moments when I call you to leave behind your familiar boat, to leave behind old securities, the approval of crowds, and the illusions that once lulled your soul to sleep. And when you walk forward, even with fear still in your heart, you will discover that the waters cannot drown the one whose eyes remain fixed upon me. When your soul truly awakens, the world will no longer hold the same glitter it once did. The things that once captivated you will begin to lose their color. Sweet promises that are empty within will no longer deceive you so easily. You will begin to recognize the exhaustion hidden behind artificial laughter, the emptiness behind success without me, and the slavery hidden beneath desires once called freedom. In those moments, you may feel lonely, like someone who has awakened in a room where everyone else is still asleep. But my child, do not fear that difference. You are not being set apart to be abandoned. You are being called out so that you may walk into the light. Come out from among them and be separate. As 2 Coríntios 6:17 declares, is not an invitation to live in pride, but a calling to live in purity, wakefulness, and complete belonging to me. Awakening is not the end. My beloved child, it is only the first dawn of a deeper journey. When you awaken in me, you do not merely begin turning away from darkness, you begin learning how to live near the light. You will learn to hear my voice not only during solemn hours of prayer, but within the ordinary moments of daily life. You will hear me in the quiet peace that comes when you choose forgiveness instead of bitterness. You will see me in the final sunlight resting gently upon a rooftop, in the raindrop falling upon a young leaf, in the silent smile of a stranger, and in the very breath still given to you each morning when you awaken. For I have never been far from you. There were simply seasons when your soul was too noisy to recognize that I was always near. Remember Elijah in the cave on Mount Horeb? He witnessed the mighty wind, the earthquake, and the fire. Yet I was not present in the way he expected within those violent displays. Then after all of them had passed, I came to him in a still small voice. My child, many times you also search for me in grand signs and wonders, while forgetting that I am still whispering within the quietness of your heart. When you become still enough, you will hear me. When you stop chasing every voice calling from the outside, you will begin to recognize the voice of your Father. And once you recognize my voice, you will no longer be so easily carried away by the noise of this age. Therefore, do not return to the old dream from which I awakened you. Do not go back to the places that once lulled your soul to sleep simply because they feel familiar. There are forms of familiarity that are not peace, but chains beautifully decorated. I am rewriting your story, not with the ink of sorrow, but with the light of grace and the breath of my Spirit. If anyone is in Christ, he is a new creation. As 2 Corinthians 5:17 declares, the old passes away not to leave you empty, but to make room for the new thing from me to be born within you. My beloved child, you are no longer a wanderer desperately searching for a place to belong. You have been found within my love. You are no longer a forgotten soul drifting along the dusty roads of the world. You have been called by name, brought home, and restored into the light. Therefore, continue walking with a heart that is gentle yet steadfast. Let faith become your very breath. Let awakening become your way of life. And let my presence become the homeland within your soul. And while the world remains consumed by fleeting dreams, you will live like a quiet lamp that never goes out, not displaying itself, not ruled by fear, but silently shining because I am within you. My beloved child, there are many souls chasing after dazzling things, hoping to find me within them. They believe that I always appear amid loud echoes, in miracles that astonish crowds, in signs and wonders that leave people speechless. But my child, many times I choose to walk very quietly through your life. I come like the gentle breeze at the close of day, like silent light slipping through a small window, like a quiet peace resting upon a weary heart. Those who seek me only in outward splendor often miss my deepest presence within the secret place. Therefore, I allow seasons in which your soul must pass through silence, so that you may learn to recognize me not only through what your eyes can see, but through a heart that knows how to listen. There are storms I do not calm immediately, because in the midst of those storms I am preparing a table of encounter for your soul. When every door you once leaned upon closes, when the voices of the world grow distant, when you no longer have the strength to keep running from yourself, that is when you begin to return home. My beloved child, many people truly encounter me only when they have nowhere else left to go. Not because I desire to drive them into pain, but because pain is often the only force strong enough to awaken their souls from the long trance of the world. Like Jonah inside the belly of the great fish in the dark depths of the sea, he cried out to me through all his brokenness, and it was within that place, which seemed like a burial, that his soul was drawn back closer to me. My child, there are depths that are not meant to destroy you, but to awaken the truest cry your soul can offer toward me. I hear even the prayers that are never spoken aloud. There are nights when you cannot form a single word, when only silent tears fall upon a lonely pillow. But my beloved child, your tears are not meaningless before me. Psalm 56:8 says that I keep your tears in my bottle, not one drop is forgotten. when your lips can no longer speak, yet your heart still turns toward me. That is often the truest prayer of all. For I do not measure your love by the eloquence of your words, but by the sincerity of the soul laid open before me. You often think that your relationship with me is proven most clearly in seasons of blessing, when prayers are answered quickly and your heart overflows with spiritual emotion. But my beloved child, mature love is not formed only beneath the sunlight. It is also refined in seasons when I seem silent. There are times when I do not answer immediately, not because I have forgotten you, but because I am drawing you deeper into faith. When I hide my face, I am teaching you how to walk without always needing to see. When I remain silent, I am teaching you to love me, not merely for comforting feelings, but because you know that I am faithful. Like Job, who sat among the ashes without understanding what was happening, yet still declared, "Though he slay me, yet will I trust in him." That is the kind of faith that no longer lives by emotion, but by complete trust. My beloved child, I long to be with you not only during solemn hours of prayer, but within the smallest moments of daily life. I am there when you quietly work and no one notices. I am there when you walk beneath the evening sky and suddenly feel a gentle peace touch your heart. I am there in the song of birds at dawn, in the raindrop resting upon a leaf, in the breath you just inhaled without realizing it was a gift from me. Too often you search for me in distant places while forgetting that I have always been very near. For in him we live and move and have our being. As Acts 17:28 declares, "You have never stepped outside my presence for even a single moment." Remember the story of the two disciples on the road to Emmaus. They walked beside me without realizing that I was with them. They spoke of disappointment, of shattered hopes, of feeling lost after painful events. Yet I quietly walked beside them, listening to them, explaining things to them, until their eyes were finally opened. My beloved child, many times I am walking beside you in the same way. You think you are alone upon a dark road, but in truth, I have never left your side. It is only that the eyes of your soul have been veiled by anxiety and the noise of life. And then there will come a moment when I break bread before you, perhaps only a very small moment, yet enough for your heart to burn within you as you suddenly realize, Father has been here all along. Therefore, do not seek me only in great and dramatic things. Learn to recognize me within the sacred simplicity of ordinary life. Let every breath become a silent prayer. Let every step you take become a journey. Walk together with me. A true relationship with me is not confined within four walls or fixed rituals. It is woven from the awareness that I am living beside you in every moment when you rejoice, when you are weary, when you laugh, when you lose heart, when you are strong, and even when you have nothing left except a heart still trying to turn toward me. My beloved child, if today you feel that I am silent, do not quickly assume that I am distant. Perhaps I am very near, so near that I no longer need to shout. Be still. Sit down within holy quietness. Let your soul stop running among the countless voices of the world. And then, within that silence, you will begin to hear what noise has never allowed you to hear before, the gentle heartbeat of heaven pulsing very near within you. My beloved child, when you open your heart and allow my Holy Spirit to touch you, a deep renewal will begin taking place within you, not merely in your emotions, but at the very roots of your mind and soul. The thoughts that once imprisoned you in fear will gradually lose their power. The limitations you once believed were your destiny will begin to crack beneath the light of truth, just as dawn quietly drives away the darkness without arguing with the night. My presence will also gently yet powerfully transform the way you see yourself, the way you see others, and the way you see life itself. Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. As Romans 12:2 declares, this is not merely advice, but the path I am leading you to walk upon. There were seasons when you lived by voices that did not come from me. The voice of disappointment once told you that you were not good enough. The voice of fear caused you to shrink back from the future. The voice of the world measured your worth by success, money, and human approval. But my beloved child, when my word begins to take root within your soul, those voices will gradually be replaced. I will teach you to see through new eyes. You will come to understand that you are not the sum of your past failures. You are not defined by seasons of weakness or old mistakes. You are the one I love, a soul called by name before the foundations of the earth were laid. And as that truth grows within you, the invisible chains of shame and anxiety will begin to fall away. Do not look upon Scripture as merely words resting upon paper. My beloved child, my word is living breath, an unquenchable fire in this cold world. When you read it with a hungry heart, every sentence becomes like cool water flowing through the dry places of your soul. There will be days when you are so weary that you do not even know how to pray. Yet a single word from me can lift you up again. As Jeremiah said, your words were found, and I ate them. And your word became to me the joy and rejoicing of my heart. My child, my word is not merely meant to be read. It is nourishment for a soul starving for light. Remember when I led the people of Israel through the wilderness. They did not only need water and bread for their bodies, they needed to learn that man does not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds from the mouth of God. The wilderness was not merely a place of testing, it was a school of trust. And many times I also lead you through dry seasons like this, so that you may stop depending on your own strength and learn to live by my word. There are things the world offers that make you feel strong for a moment, yet leave your soul empty afterward. But my word is different. It nourishes you from within, rebuilds what has been broken, and causes new life to spring forth where you believed only ashes remained. My beloved child, my word is also a shield for you in this age of shaking. When fear moves through the world like a cold wind, the one who is rooted in truth will not be swept away. The enemy will try to whisper into your mind that you are alone, that the future is hopeless, that dark. But whenever this happens, answer with, my word, just as I did in the wilderness when I was tempted. Satan came with lies, but I answered, it is written. My child, there is great power in the mouth of one who proclaims truth in the midst of darkness. When you declare my word with faith, light will pierce through the regions of your mind that have been overshadowed by darkness. I do not call you to live within the false security the world promises. There are beds that appear comfortable yet are quietly lulling your soul to sleep. There are successes that seem dazzling, yet cause you to forget eternity. Therefore, I allow shakings to come in order to awaken humanity, not to destroy what is precious, but to strip away the temporary shell hiding the true treasure within. Just as Gideon had to tear down the altar of idols before stepping into his true calling, I am also tearing down many things within human hearts, the invisible idols of control, pride, materialism, and fear, so that souls may walk freely into the light. My beloved child, there are vessels I allow to crack because I want you to see what I have placed inside them. A vessel that appears whole on the outside may still be empty within, but a vessel broken in, my hands can become a place through which light pours forth. Remember the jars of Gideon that were shattered in the middle of the night battle. It was when the jars were broken that the torches inside burst into light and terrified the enemy. In the same way, there are broken places you once wept over that are actually opening the way for my light within you to be seen more clearly. Therefore, my beloved child, do not be afraid when I shake what is not true in your life. Do not grieve too long over what I am pulling from your hands, if it has been keeping your soul far from eternal life. Let my Holy Spirit continue renewing your mind each day. Let my word become a lamp to your feet and a light to your path. As Psalm 119, 105 declares. And then, in the midst of this chaotic world, you will walk with a peace the world cannot understand, not because every storm has disappeared, but because you know that the one leading you through them has never let go of your hand. My beloved child, when you learn how to walk into the storm without turning away from me, you will gradually realize that the most frightening thing is not the waves and winds, but a soul that has never learned to trust. At first, you tremble before trials because you think they have come to destroy you. But then, through every season of tears, you will understand that many storms I allow to pass through your life are not meant to drown you, but to draw you closer to my heart. There are depths of relationship that cannot be reached in days when everything is too easy. Right in the place that seems most chaotic, you will begin to hear my voice more clearly than ever before. And then you will understand that true peace is not a life without storms, but my presence with you in the midst of them. Remember Daniel's 3 friends in the blazing furnace, when they were thrown into the fire because they refused to bow before the idols of the world. Everyone thought it was the end, but in that very furnace, a fourth one appeared and walked with them. The fire did not destroy them, it only burned away the ropes that bound them. My beloved child, many times I also allow you to pass through such fires, not so that you may be consumed, but so that the invisible chains of fear, pride, and dependence on the world may be burned away. And when you come out of the fire, you will no longer be the same as before. Your eyes will carry the depth of one who has met me in pain. Your soul will carry the light of one who knows that no fire is greater than the presence of God. My beloved child, the refiner does not place gold into the fire because he hates it, but because he sees the value within it. In the same way, I do not turn my face away from you when trials come. I am sitting very near that fire, watching carefully over everything taking place within your soul. Each time you choose forgiveness instead of bitterness, my image becomes clearer in you. Each time you continue to love, even after being wounded, my light burns more brightly. Each time you still kneel in prayer through the long and weary night, your soul is drawn one step closer to heaven. And the day will come when you look back on the storms that once made you weep and realize that they became a holy song of transformation, where the thunder was no longer merely a sound of threat, but the drumbeat leading you deeper into my arms. I do not want you to live forever as someone searching for light only on the outside. My child, my light has been placed within you so that it may shine out into the world. Therefore, rise in the authority I have given you, not the authority of pride or control, but the power of love, truth, and holy presence. You are no longer someone standing on the sidelines, watching the world sink into darkness. I am sending you forth as a lamp in the night. You are the light of the world. As Matthew 5:14 declares, that light does not come from your effort to become perfect, but from the fact that I am living within you. Do not think you must speak great and impressive things in order to reveal me. Sometimes a single look filled with mercy is enough for a soul to recognize that heaven is real. Sometimes your choice to remain gentle in a world full of anger becomes a sermon more powerful than 1,000 spoken messages. When you love the one who has wounded you, the world will see something the flesh cannot understand. When you stand firm in days of shaking, while your heart remains at peace, others will begin to ask, where does that strength come from? And through your life, they will see me. My beloved child, I am not sending you out to condemn the world with cold and hardened eyes. I am sending you out to carry my heart. There are so many souls out there living like wanderers lost in the night, They laugh while carrying wounds within. They succeed outwardly while their souls grow weary and exhausted. I desire to use you to reach them, not through spiritual pride, but through mercy. Remember the way I looked at Peter after he denied me 3 times. I did not look upon him with destruction in my eyes, but with restoring love. In the same way, I want your eyes to become a place where others find hope instead of judgment. My beloved child, when you truly live within my presence, your life will become living evidence that heaven is still touching the earth. People will not only hear you speak about faith, they will feel peace when they are near you. They will see within you a steadiness that circumstances cannot shake. They will see light in your eyes, even after seasons of pain. And they will understand that you are not standing by your own strength, but by the one living within you who is greater than all the darkness of this world. Therefore, my child, stop running from the storm. Walk into it with me. For if you allow me to hold your hand through fire and deep waters, you will not merely survive the trial, you will be transformed by it. And then the very place that once frightened you the most will become the holiest place within the memory of your soul. Because it was there that you encountered me in the deepest way. There that you realized that amid all the thunder of life, the gentle voice of your Father was still calling you by name. My beloved child, pause for a moment and look back upon the road you have traveled. There were seasons when you believed you would never rise again. There were nights when your soul was so weary that all you could do was silently stare toward the heavens without enough words left to pray. Yet you are still here. You are still breathing. You are still moving forward. That is not by accident. My hand has quietly held you through every valley your eyes could not fully see. There were disasters that never touched you. There were traps that never swallowed your soul. There were moments when the enemy believed your life had been destroyed. Yet I transformed those very things into a furnace where your faith was refined and strengthened. As Joseph said to his brothers in Genesis 50:20, "You intended evil against me, but God intended it for good." My child, there is not a single tear you have ever shed that I cannot turn into a seed for a greater purpose. Do not think that my protection over your life was only so that you could live peacefully for yourself alone. No, my beloved child, I have preserved you because I see within you a lamp meant for souls still wandering in darkness. I did not pull you out of brokenness so that you could spend the rest of your life speaking only about your wounds. I brought you out so that you could become living proof that restoration is real. The places within you that once hurt the most will become the places where mercy flows most powerfully. Those who have been deeply wounded often understand best how to embrace other broken souls. Therefore, do not be ashamed of the seasons when you were weak. I will use those very scars as doorways through which my light can pass. Remember Peter. He once sank in fear, denied me in the darkness of night, and believed himself no longer worthy. But I did not call him back merely to comfort him. After restoring him beside the sea, I entrusted him with a mission: feed my sheep. Do you see? My child, the place of Peter's greatest failure became the place where I built his strongest calling. In the same way, there are regions of ashes within your life that the world believes should only be forgotten. But I see there a future garden. From the very ground that once seemed barren, I will cause gentleness, wisdom, and love to grow strong enough to bring healing to many other souls. My beloved child, you are now stepping into a new season. This is no longer merely the season in which I shelter you from the storm, but the season in which I teach you to walk through the storm with light in your hands. I do not want you to remain forever in the place of only receiving. I am calling you to become one who gives. There are souls waiting to hear your story, so they may know that hope still exists. There are people drowning in despair who will look into your eyes and see evidence that God still heals. There are hearts convinced they have been forgotten, who will discover through your life that I have never abandoned anyone who sincerely seeks me. Do not fear the calling that is stirring within your heart. My beloved child, I know there are moments when you feel you are not strong enough, not wise enough, not pure enough to be used by me, but I have never chosen people because of their perfection. I choose those who are willing to let me work through them. Moses trembled before the burning bush and said he did not know how to speak. Jeremiah believed he was too young. Gideon saw himself as the least of all. Yet I did not look at them through the eyes of limitation. I looked at what I could accomplish through their lives. My child, what you need for the journey ahead does not rest in your own strength, but in whether you dare to believe that I am with you. Everything necessary has already been placed into your hands. The faith you think is too small can still move mountains when it is placed in me. The mercy you learn through seasons of pain will become healing oil for others. The wisdom you receive through tears will help you lift up souls wandering in confusion. And the fire I placed within your heart, the fire that quietly kept you alive through the longest nights, will now become light for many others to walk by. I did not save you merely so that you could escape darkness, but so that you could carry light into the darkness itself. A lamp is not lit in order to be hidden beneath a basket, but to give light to the whole house. In the same way, your life is becoming living testimony that my glory can rise from ashes. When others see that you are still standing after everything you have endured, they will understand that a power greater than pain itself has been sustaining you. Therefore, my beloved child, rise up. Do not delay any longer before the calling I am placing within your soul. Walk forward even if your steps still tremble. Speak words of love even in a world filled with bitterness. Continue to shine even while darkness still surrounds you, for I am turning the story of your life into an instrument of revival. Through you, many will rediscover hope. Through you, many souls will awaken from the trance of despair, and through the very things you once believed were your greatest ruins, I will cause a garden of grace to bloom so brightly that an entire generation will come to know that the love of God is always stronger than the ashes of this world. My beloved child, never forget that the one who dwells within you is greater than every darkness moving through this world. There are times when the enemy tries to make you look at your own weakness so that you will believe you are alone, fragile, and unable to stand firm. It whispers that the darkness is too thick, that your wounds are too deep, that this battle is beyond your strength. But my child, if you look only at yourself, you will tremble. Yet if you look to me, dwelling within you, your soul will rise with new strength. For as it is written in 1 John 4:4, he who is in you is greater than he who is in the world. This is not merely comfort, it is an eternal truth that hell cannot change. My spirit within you is not a weak flame, easily extinguished by the winds of life. It is the very breath of power that created the heavens, the life force that caused the Red Sea to open a path through the darkness of night, the power that called Lazarus out of the tomb after 4 days of death. And my beloved child, that same spirit is at work within you today. When you feel exhausted, I am still strong. When you cannot see a way forward, I am still making a way in the wilderness. The enemy wants you to forget this, because a soul that recognizes who is living within it will no longer be easily chained by fear. Remember the story of Elisha and the young servant when the enemy army surrounded the city in the night. The servant was terrified because he could only see the horses and chariots of the enemy covering the hills. But Elisha prayed, "Lord, open his eyes so that he may see." And at that moment, the servant saw the mountain filled with the horses and chariots of fire of heaven surrounding them. My child, many times you are like that servant. Your eyes are overwhelmed by what is opposing you, and you forget to see the spiritual army standing on your side. But I say to you today, you have not been left alone in the battle. Heaven does not sleep through your cries. There are many things protecting you that the eyes of flesh have never seen. Do not bow your head before fear. My beloved child, fear is the invisible chain that darkness uses to make your soul forget the authority I have given you. When I called Joshua to lead the people into the promised land, I did not say there would be no battles. I said, be strong and courageous. Courage is not the absence of giants before you, but the decision to keep walking even when the giant stands in your path. My child, the power of heaven has not been given to you so that you may hide from the world, but so that you may stand firm within it with my light in your heart. When you pray with faith, unseen things begin to move. There are chains being broken that your eyes may not see immediately. There are doors I am opening in the spiritual realm before they appear in your life. Do not underestimate the prayer that rises from a heart sincerely seeking me. Remember Paul and Silas in the prison. They did not sit in the darkness complaining. They lifted their voices in praise. And when praise rose in the midst of chains, the earth shook, the prison doors opened, and the shackles fell away. Do you see? My child, darkness does not know what to do with a soul that continues to worship in the midst of pain. My beloved child, my word in your mouth carries greater power than you realize. When you proclaim truth in the midst of fear, darkness begins to retreat. When you declare life in the midst of despair, light begins to enter the coldest places. For my word does not return empty. Isaiah 55:11 declares that the word that goes forth from my mouth will accomplish what I desire and achieve the purpose for which I sent it. Therefore, do not use your mouth to repeat the hopelessness of the world. Use it to proclaim the truth of heaven. I also want you to remember that light does not need to shout in order to overcome darkness. A single small candle entering a dark room is enough to make the darkness disappear. In the same way, when you walk in my presence, there are things that will naturally begin to fall away from your life, not because you are strong in yourself, but because darkness cannot remain where my light dwells. Therefore, do not spend your entire life merely fighting darkness. Learn instead how to stay close to the light. When your heart is filled with my presence, many chains will fall away on their own without you struggling to break them. My beloved child, I did not create you to live curled up in fear. I am calling you to rise and walk in the spiritual authority that heaven has placed upon your life, not to dominate others, but to bring freedom, not to condemn, but to carry healing. There are souls imprisoned by despair, shame, and invisible darkness. I desire to use you as an instrument of light to lead them back into freedom. Therefore, stand firm, lift up your head. Let the fire of my Holy Spirit continue burning within you more strongly than every voice of fear. And then, as you walk through this age of chaos with an unexplainable peace, many people will see not your own strength, but the living power of God at work through your life. My beloved child, be careful about the voices you allow to remain within your mind. The world is filled with sounds that seek to pull your soul away from my peace. Some voices come like a gentle breeze, yet carry the poison of fear. Some words sound wise to human reasoning, yet quietly draw your heart farther away from faith. Endless news, sweet promises from the world, and the confusion spreading through crowds, all these things can leave your mind weary and your soul stripped of the stillness necessary to hear me. Therefore, my child, do not let your heart become a room thrown wide open for every noise to enter. Learn how to retreat into the secret place with me, where the mind can rest and the soul can be cleansed from the chaos of the world. I did not create you to be led by unstable emotions like the waves of the sea. There will be days when your emotions feel strong, and there will also be days when they are weak and full of doubt. If you build your life upon emotions, your soul will rise and fall with every wind of circumstance. But if you root yourself in my word, you will stand firm, even when your heart still trembles. The righteous shall live by faith. As Romans 1:17 declares. Faith is not denying fear. Faith is choosing to believe that I am greater than that fear. There will be moments when your mind wants to follow only what your eyes can see. But your soul must learn how to anchor itself in what I have spoken. My beloved child, I want to lead you into a quietness the world cannot understand. Not a place without outward noise, but a place where your inner being is no longer torn apart by countless thoughts. There are souls constantly surrounded by noise until they can no longer distinguish between my voice and the voice of anxiety. But when you sit quietly before me, when you stop trying to control everything and simply open your heart, my spirit will begin calming the storms within your mind. Just as I once spoke to the raging sea, saying, "Peace, be still." I am speaking those same words today over the chaos within you. Remember Mary, who sat at my feet to listen while everyone else was busy with many things. Martha was anxious and distracted by countless tasks. But Mary chose the better thing, to remain near and hear my voice. My child, the world will always try to pull you into endless busyness, making you believe you are being productive while your soul slowly grows empty. But I did not only call you to work for me, I called you to be with me. There are things that can only be understood when you remain still long enough in my presence. There are wounds that can only be healed when the soul stops running from silence. And when you open the scriptures with a hungry heart, I do not read them like someone searching merely for information. Read them like a child listening to a letter from their father. For my word is not dead text lying still upon a page. Hebrews 4:12 says that my word is living and active, sharper than any two-edged sword. My beloved child, every word I speak carries the breath of heaven within it. There are moments when a single verse of scripture is enough to illuminate a region of darkness in which you wandered for years. When you allow my word to pass beyond the shell of reason and touch the deepest part of your soul, true transformation will begin. I know there are times when you wonder why I warn so often. But my child, a father who loves his child will not remain silent when he sees a cliff ahead. I warn you not to bind you in fear, but to keep your feet from paths that seek to destroy your soul. There are traps in this world covered with attractive beauty. There are roads that appear bright at first but eventually lead to emptiness and chains. Therefore, my word is like a lamp placed along a dark path, so that you will not stumble into danger your eyes cannot yet fully see. But my beloved child, I do not merely warn you and then leave you to fight alone. I protect you with invisible grace that many times you do not even recognize. There are days when you think you merely got lucky escaping harm. But in truth, my hand was covering you. There are doors that closed and caused you pain. Yet one day you will understand they were acts of rescue. Psalm 121 says that I never sleep while watching over you, even in the nights when you cannot feel my presence. The arms of my grace are still surrounding your life like an invisible wall of fire. Remember the story of the Israelites on the night of Passover in Egypt, when the blood of the lamb was placed upon the doorposts. Destruction passed over them and could not touch them. My beloved child, what protects you is not your own strength or the wisdom of the world, but my covenant with those who belong to me. When you listen to and keep my word, you are walking beneath the covering of heaven. This does not mean your life will be without trials, but in the midst of those trials, there will be a protection the world cannot explain. Therefore, my beloved child, guard your heart from the chaos of this age. Do not allow the voices of the world to become louder than my voice within your soul. Spend time in the secret place where you can hear the gentle wind of my spirit passing through your heart. Let my word become the stream that washes your mind each day. And then, In the midst of a world filled with fear and deception, you will walk with a deep peace, not because every storm has disappeared, but because you know you are being held within my arms that never let go. My beloved child, there are moments when you look at yourself and feel so small in this vast world. You see your limitations, your moments of weakness, the times you have fallen, and you wonder whether your life truly carries any meaning in my eyes. But my child, what you call fragile dust is precisely what I cherish with infinite love. You are not invisible before me. Not one tear falls from your eyes without me seeing it. Not one sigh escapes your lips unnoticed. And there are very small moments that the world pays no attention to. Yet they move heaven more deeply than the great displays humanity celebrates. Every time you choose to smile, even while your heart still aches, you are resisting darkness more powerfully than you realize. The world believes strength is found in striking back. Yet many times true strength is found in gentleness that refuses to let bitterness take hold of the soul. There are days when you yourself long to be embraced, yet you still stretch out your hands to comfort others. My beloved child, such acts are never small in my eyes. Just as the poor widow who offered only 2 small coins was considered by me to have given more than all the abundance of others, I also look at your heart more than outward perfection. True love always carries eternal weight. Whether the world notices it or not, I have seen every silent battle you have walked through. The nights when you swallowed your tears in order to remain strong before others. The moments when you were misunderstood, yet still chose silence instead of defending yourself with anger. The times when you wanted to close your heart after being wounded, yet still decided to open it once more in love. My beloved child, I am not disappointed in you the way you have imagined. Even in the days when you judged yourself most harshly, I still saw the light within your soul that never went out, the light that has always longed to return to the true light. Remember Joseph, who was betrayed by his own brothers and sold like a piece of merchandise. He was falsely accused, forgotten in prison, and treated unjustly despite living righteously. Yet he did not allow the darkness of others to turn him bitter. When he finally had the opportunity for revenge, he instead chose forgiveness and saved the very people who had wounded him. My beloved child, that is a kind of strength the world cannot understand. Forgiveness does not mean forgetting the wound or calling evil good. Forgiveness means refusing to let darkness continue living inside your soul. And every time you forgive, another invisible chain of bitterness is broken from your life. The world often teaches that to be strong, one must become hard, keep distance, and strike back in order to protect pride. But I say to you, my beloved child, that only those who are truly strong in love can show mercy after being wounded. Forgiveness is the language of heaven because it reflects my very heart. When I hung upon the cross, surrounded by pain and mockery, I still prayed, Father, forgive them. My child, every time you choose to pray instead of curse, choose silence instead of meaningless arguments, choose love instead of shutting your heart away, you are walking within the flow of heavenly power. And I want you to understand this deeply. You do not need to be perfect in order to be loved by me. If my love depended upon your perfection, no soul would ever be worthy to enter my embrace. What I seek is not a flawless outward appearance, but a sincere heart, a heart that still turns toward the light even while weary, a soul that still longs to return even after wandering astray. Psalm 51, 17 declares, a broken and contrite heart, O God, you will not despise. My beloved child, it is that genuine softness of heart that causes heaven to bend near to you. Do not think that your choices to love are meaningless in this cold world. Every time you choose light instead of darkness, you are changing the atmosphere around you more than you realize. There are people who will look at the way you live and believe for the first time that true love truly exists. There are despairing souls who will find hope simply because you treated them with mercy instead of judgment. Your life is becoming a doorway through which others can begin to feel my heart. My beloved child, you are not merely trying to become a better person. I am teaching you to live as a child of the King, not through pride, but through the qualities of heaven reflected in your daily life. A child of mine does not allow darkness to determine the way they love. A child of mine does not answer bitterness with bitterness. A child of mine understands that light is stronger than darkness, not because light shouts louder, but because darkness cannot continue to exist where light is present. Therefore, keep walking. My child, when you love through pain, heaven sees it. When you pray in silence instead of seeking revenge, heaven listens. When you keep your heart gentle within a world full of thorns, I am more proud of you than you realize. And the day will come when you understand that those quiet moments, those times when you chose light, even when it was difficult, became precious stones, building eternal glory within your soul. My beloved child, never think that your journey is passing by unnoticed. The world may overlook the days you silently endured, but before my eyes, every step of your path is remembered with eternal tenderness. No wound upon your soul is meaningless. No tear falls and disappears like rain in the desert. I have seen it all, the moments you knelt alone in loneliness, the days you forced yourself to smile while your heart was breaking, the times you continued loving even when no one understood the battle you carried within. And my child, what you call seasons of failure are often the very places where I see the most beautiful faithfulness. There are battles for which no one applauds you when you win. No crowd sees the moments when you resist the voice of despair in your mind. No one knows the times you have had to restrain your heart so you would not answer in anger. But heaven has seen. When you choose honesty in a world accustomed to living behind masks, your soul releases a light that darkness cannot bear. When you pray instead of sinking into complaint, you open a door for my power to move in ways natural eyes cannot see. And every time you decide to love someone who has wounded you, all of heaven trembles like dawn breaking after a long night. Remember the poor woman who gave 2 small coins in the temple. Among so many great offerings, it seemed that no one noticed her, but I saw her. What she gave was small in human eyes, yet infinitely precious in the eyes of heaven, because she gave it with her whole heart. My beloved child, many things you do in silence are the same. An intercessory prayer no one knows about, a comforting embrace given to someone in pain, a kindness you offer when you yourself are weary. The world may consider these things ordinary, but in heaven they are recorded like fragrance rising before my throne. Do not use the world's measure to evaluate your life anymore. My beloved child, the world often counts worth by what can be seen: applause, popularity, numbers, and achievements. But I look deeper. I look to see whether you remain tender in a world full of hardness. I look to see whether you still keep kindness in your heart when you are treated unjustly. I look to see whether you continue rising after every fall. For in my eyes, true victory is not when you are celebrated, but when you still choose light in a place filled with darkness, when you love without being loved in return. The kingdom of heaven sees my image reflected in you. When you forgive without waiting for someone to apologize, your soul steps into a freedom the world cannot understand. When you keep your heart pure, though you are misunderstood and judged, the angels sing a song of faithfulness. There are triumphs that do not take place on human battlefields, but within your own heart, where you refuse to let bitterness, hatred, and despair rule over you. My beloved child, heaven is not cold and distant as people imagine. Heaven is alive. Heaven moves with every choice your soul makes. Each time a heart turns back toward the light, all eternity rejoices. As I have said, there is great joy in heaven when one sinner repents. In the same way, every sincere act of love creates waves of light that reach farther than you realize. You may feel like only one ordinary person among millions on the earth. But, my child, light does not need to be enormous to drive out darkness. One small candle is enough to completely change a dark room. Remember the woman who poured fragrant oil upon my feet. Others looked at her with judgment, but I saw the love within that act. The perfume she poured out was considered wasteful, but to me, it was true worship. My child, there are also things you do that the world does not understand. There are loving choices you make that are mistaken for weakness. There are silences of yours that are misunderstood as defeat. But I see the true motive within your soul, and whatever is done out of genuine love will never be forgotten in eternity. When you bow your head in prayer within an empty room, I am there. When you remain silent in the face of insult because you do not wish to sow more division, I hear that quiet sacrifice. When you step out of your comfort zone to lift up someone who is hurting, my hand is resting upon your shoulder. You are never invisible before me. You may not be widely known on earth, but in heaven your name is spoken with love. Therefore, my beloved child, do not lose heart when the things you do are not immediately recognized. Do not let the silence of the world make you believe your life creates no difference. One day, I will reveal everything done in the light of love, and in that moment, many will realize that it was often the quietest souls who kept the light from going out in this dark age. So continue loving, continue praying, continue walking in kindness and faithfulness. For every act you do in me is echoing far beyond what your eyes can presently see. My beloved child, if your name is written in heaven, then your life is also called to reflect the light of that kingdom upon this earth. You are not merely a human being drifting through meaningless days. You carry within yourself the mark of an eternal kingdom. Every step you take upon this earth sends echoes into the spiritual realm. Therefore, do not live as one who has forgotten where they belong. Do not allow the voices of the world to make you lose sight of the dignity I have placed upon your life. You may not wear robes or crowns before human eyes, but my child, your soul bears the name of heaven. When you open your mouth to speak, remember that words carry more power than you realize. A single grace-filled sentence can lift up a soul drowning in despair. A harsh word can leave wounds that remain for years. Therefore, let your mouth become a fountain of life. Pleasant words are like honeycomb, sweetness to the soul and health to the bones. As Proverbs 16:24 declares, there are days when someone continues moving forward only because they encountered a gentle word spoken through you. Do not underestimate this. When you speak with love instead of anger, you open a doorway through which heaven touches the earth. My beloved child, living as one whose name is written in heaven is not an easy path. Light will always be resisted by darkness. There will be times when you are misunderstood even though your heart is sincere. There will be moments when you are mocked because you choose forgiveness instead of retaliation. There will be seasons when you feel out of place in a world chasing things completely opposite to the values of heaven. But my child, do not fear the loneliness of one who walks in the light, for there are roads that only souls who truly belong to me are willing to travel. Remember Jeremiah, the prophet often called the weeping prophet. He spoke my words to a people who did not want to listen. He was opposed, abandoned, and at times even desired to remain silent forever. Yet the fire of my word within him burned stronger than his loneliness. My beloved child, there will be times when you also feel as though you stand alone in a world full of noise. But it is precisely in those moments that I am nearer to you than ever before. When every other voice grows silent, you will hear the heartbeat of my presence beside you. And remember this, I myself once stood alone upon the cross, so that you would never truly be alone again. Living as one who belongs to heaven means living with a purpose deeper than what the eyes can see. It means rising while the sky is still dark to seek me before the world pulls your mind in every direction. It means continuing to love even while your heart still carries scars not yet fully healed. It means praying for those who wounded you instead of nurturing bitterness within your soul. It means sowing hope even when you cannot yet see the harvest. This is not the path of the majority, but it is the path that leads to true life. Narrow is the gate, and difficult is the way which leads to life. As Matthew 7:14 declares, yet it is upon this very road that you will discover a peace the world can never give. Do not think that the reward of heaven begins only after this earthly life ends. My beloved child, a portion of heaven is already being given to you even now. It is the peace that appears in the midst of storms and cannot be explained by reason. It is the quiet joy that still burns within difficult days. It is the strength to rise again after the moments when you believed you had nothing left to hold on to. When you live in love, forgiveness, and truth, you are already breathing the atmosphere of heaven here upon the earth. My beloved child, every time you choose light instead of darkness, the world changes more than you realize. When you are gentle with someone who is hurting, a part of heaven touches the earth. When you keep your heart pure in an age filled with deception, the boundary between heaven and earth grows thinner. You do not need wings to bring the kingdom of heaven to others. You only need a heart that knows how to love as I love. A heart that refuses to let hatred overcome it. A heart willing to bend down and lift up the weak instead of stepping past them. I know life on this earth is not easy. My beloved child, I see the bills that make you anxious. I see the dreams that have not yet become reality. I see the nights when you lie awake, wondering why nothing has changed yet. I see the wounds left by people you loved who did not understand you. But my child, in the midst of all these things, every single day you still choose to trust me is a great victory in the spiritual realm. Every time you still choose goodness in the face of hardship, you are drawing the light of heaven closer to this world. Remember Paul and Silas in the prison. The chains were still upon their hands. Their circumstances had not yet changed, yet they still sang songs of praise. And right there, in that dark place, heaven touched the earth, the ground shook, the prison doors opened, and freedom appeared. My beloved child, heaven is not only a place you will someday enter. Heaven begins each time your soul chooses love instead of hatred, hope instead of despair, and light instead of darkness. Therefore, do not wait for some distant day before believing you will live within my presence. Live within it now. Today, when you smile, even while tears still fill your eyes. Heaven is there. When you reach out to hold another person's hand, instead of closing your heart because of pain, heaven is there. When you look upon someone who wounded you with mercy instead of condemnation, heaven is there. And with every breath, you live in such love. You are showing the world that eternal light is not merely a distant reality somewhere far away, but something alive within the soul that belongs to me. My beloved child, I have placed within you a part of my heart, not the cold heart of stone that belongs to the world, but a heart that still trembles at the pain of others, still loves even when wounded, and still continues to hope in days that seem filled only with darkness. That is why there are times when you feel different from this world. You hurt over things others no longer care about. You grieve over souls that are falling. You carry within you a tenderness that many people call weakness. But my child, that is not weakness. It is the mark of my presence upon your soul. Never think that you are walking alone. There are roads so dark that they make you feel as though no one is beside you anymore. There are burdens you carry that you cannot explain in a way others would understand. There are nights when you lie still in tears, too tired to pray, too exhausted to form words. But, my beloved child, even when your lips are silent, my spirit is still interceding for you with groanings too deep for words. Romans 8:26 is not merely a distant verse. It is the breath of my love for you in your weakest moments. When you no longer have the strength to hold on to me, I am the one holding on to you. Remember the story of the two disciples on the road to Emmaus after the day I was crucified. They walked with heavy hearts, believing that hope had died. They spoke to one another in sorrow, not realizing that I was walking with them on that very road. My child, there are times when you are like them, too wounded to recognize that I am very near. You think silence means distance, but in truth, I am covering you with a love deeper than words. There are forms of presence that do not need loud sound, they simply remain quietly, like warmth lingering on the hands that hold you through the long night. Now, my beloved child, the season of movement has come. The prayers you sowed in tears have not vanished into empty space. I heard every whisper no one else knew about. I saw the times you prayed in desperation, the nights you cried out to me in a dark room, the moments when you tried to hold on to faith while everything seemed silent. And I say to you today, not one sincere prayer has been forgotten before my throne. Some answers are drawing nearer than you think. Some doors I am opening are doors you once believed were locked forever. But my child, I do not always move in the way you expect. Many times, my miracles come through very ordinary things, through a meeting that seems accidental, through someone who enters your life at the right moment, through a delay that looks like failure but is actually protecting you from something not yet meant for its time. For, in me, nothing is random. I am placing every piece in its proper position, even though your eyes cannot yet see the whole picture. Just as Joseph was sold into Egypt without understanding why his life had to turn down such a painful road, you too may be walking through turns you cannot yet comprehend. But the day will come when you look back and realize that everything was leading you to the place I had appointed for you from the beginning. I am also bringing into your life souls who are sent to walk beside you. Not everyone who enters your life comes to wound you. There are people I send as gifts of grace to remind you that you are not alone, to lift your hands when you grow weary, to speak truth to you in love when you begin forgetting your own worth. They will not come to control or impose themselves upon you, but to walk together with you in the light. Just as Jonathan stood beside David during the darkest season of his life, I am also preparing spiritual connections that will strengthen your soul. My beloved child, I am planting you in the very ground your soul needs in order to grow. That place may not always feel comfortable. There may be seasons of storms, days when you must learn how to wait and trust. Yet it is there that the roots of your faith will grow deeper into grace. A great tree does not grow through sunlight alone. It matures through strong winds that force its roots deeper into the earth. In the same way, I am making your soul steadfast not through ease, but through my presence in the midst of hardship, and engrave this deeply within your heart. My child, no weapon formed against you shall prosper. Isaiah 54:17 is not merely a comforting phrase. It is heaven's declaration over your life. The enemy may roar, but its roar is not louder than my voice calling you, beloved child. Darkness may come like a long night, but it cannot extinguish the flame I have lit within your soul. You may be tested, but you will not be abandoned. You may pass through fire and deep waters, but I will be with you just as I was with Daniel's 3 friends in the furnace. My beloved child, my name has been engraved upon your soul like an eternal seal. No power of darkness can erase what I have written with love. Therefore, be at peace. Keep walking even when you cannot yet see the entire path. Trust that I am working even within the silence, and the time will come when you realize that every tear, every season of waiting, every painful turn in the road was being woven together into a story filled with glory, the story of a soul that was not consumed by darkness, because the hand of God never left its life. My beloved child, rise up from the thoughts that are holding you back. Do not wait until you feel strong enough, holy enough, or perfect enough before daring to follow my calling. If I only called those without flaw, there would be no one qualified for me to use. I knew every weakness within you before you ever spoke your first prayer. And still I called you. I saw the times you collapsed, the seasons when you doubted yourself, the moments when you wanted to give up because you felt too weary to continue. But my child, my calling has never depended upon human perfection. It rests upon my eternal love and purpose. When I call you, it is not merely a sound passing through your ears, but a stirring that reaches the deepest place within your soul. There are calls from the world that awaken only ambition, but the call from heaven awakens the true nature I placed within you from the very beginning. Therefore, whenever you feel something urging you to draw nearer to me, to love more deeply, to live more truthfully, do not ignore it. That is my spirit drawing your soul out of the sleep of fear and insecurity. My beloved child, there are days when you believe you are invisible in the vast flow of life. You see your actions as too small, your prayers as though they vanish into silence, your efforts unnoticed by anyone. But I say to you today, nothing done in love is meaningless before my eyes. Heaven sees what the world overlooks. When you choose gentleness instead of harshness, I see it. When you continue loving while your heart still aches, I see it. When you quietly pray for others in the darkness of night, I hear you. And every tear you shed for the sake of goodness is kept by me like a precious treasure. Remember the woman who quietly touched the edge of my garment in the middle of the crowd. No one noticed her except me. To the world, she was only a weak and desperate woman trying to push through a sea of people. But I felt her faith among the hundreds of hands reaching toward me. My beloved child, many times you also believe your life is too small to make any difference. Yet a single act filled with faith can move heaven itself. I do not measure your worth by the amount of noise you create, but by the love and sincerity within your soul. You often ask yourself why you still feel weak after trying so hard, why you still stumble even though you sincerely desire to live rightly. But my child, the very place where you recognize your helplessness is where my grace begins to flow most powerfully. If you were always strong in your own strength, you would slowly forget your need for me. If you had never failed, you would struggle to understand mercy toward others. And if you had never fallen, you would never know what it means to be lifted up by my hands full of grace. Remember Peter, he truly loved me. Yet he still denied me 3 times in the darkness of the night. He wept bitterly when he saw the weakness within himself, but I did not leave him in that failure. After my resurrection, I came to him by the shore not to condemn him, but to restore him. I did not ask, "Why were you weak?" I asked, "Do you love me, my beloved child?" I am looking at you in the same way. I do not define you by the times you have fallen. I look at the heart that still longs to return to the light after every wandering step. Do not condemn yourself for so long anymore. There is a repentance that leads you into the light, but there is also a self-condemnation that drags the soul into darkness. I have not called you to live beneath the burden of shame. I have called you to rise and continue walking, for the righteous may fall 7 times, yet still rise again. And every time you stand back up after pain, your soul reflects the strength of grace more clearly than before. My beloved child, keep walking, even when you cannot yet see the entire road. Trust me, even when your mind cannot fully understand what I am doing. Continue loving, even while your wounds are not yet completely healed. For it is precisely in those moments that my glory will be revealed most clearly through your life. The world is accustomed to admiring outward strength, but I often choose souls who know they need me, because then they no longer live by their own power, but by my power within them. One day, you will look back upon every tear-filled road you have traveled and understand that not a single moment was wasted. The times you thought you were breaking apart were actually softening your heart to become more like mine. The seasons of waiting were teaching you patience. The failures were teaching you humility. The dark nights were teaching you where true light truly comes from. And then, my beloved child, when others look at your life, they will not merely see a person who was once weak. They will see living proof that heaven is still moving upon this earth. They will see that grace can still heal broken souls. They will see that the love of God is stronger than every failure. And through the story of your life, many will come to realize that I am still alive, still loving, and still quietly transforming hearts that are willing to belong completely to me. My beloved child, do not be quick to lose heart when your progress seems too slow in the midst of this hurried world. The world is used to measuring everything by speed, by visible achievements, by results that can be displayed before others. But the spiritual realm does not operate that way. There are things growing deep within you that natural eyes cannot yet recognize. A tree does not rise tall in a single night, but day by day. Its roots quietly sink deeper into the earth in preparation for a season of sweet fruit. In the same way, every small step you take in faithfulness is creating a great movement in unseen places you cannot yet perceive. When you pray in a quiet room and think that nothing is changing, heaven is listening. When you continue doing what is right, though no one acknowledges it, the heavens are recording that faithfulness. When you choose forgiveness instead of holding bitterness in your heart, darkness loses its power over your soul. My beloved child, some of the greatest victories do not take place amid the cheers of the crowd, but in the silence between you and me. A prayer rising from a broken heart can shake the spiritual realm more powerfully than the things the world calls strength. Remember David when he was still an unknown shepherd boy in the fields. No one saw the days when he sat alone beneath the night sky, singing and playing for me. No one knew the times he quietly fought lions and bears to protect the little flock. But in that hidden place, I was preparing his soul for a throne he could not yet see. My child, perhaps today your life feels too ordinary, too small, too unseen, but do not despise the seasons I use to train your heart in silence. For when the appointed time comes, what was formed in the secret place will be revealed in the light. Faith is not waiting until you can see the entire road before you take a step. Faith is daring to place your foot forward even while your eyes are still covered by mist. Just as Peter walked upon the water not because the sea was calm, but because he looked at me amid the raging waves, you too will learn to walk in that way. There will be days when you do not understand what I am doing. There will be doors that close and wound your heart. There will be delays that make you feel forgotten. But my beloved child, if I am holding your hand, then even the darkest road cannot lead you in the wrong direction. I am also bringing special people into your life, not by accident, but by the arrangement of grace. Some will come as gentle voices reminding you of your worth when you begin to forget it. Some will support you in the days when your soul grows weary. Some I will use to shape you, not to wound you, but to break down the small limitations you have built around your life, just as Nathan was sent to David to draw him back to the truth. I will also place sincere voices around you to keep your soul from wandering away from the light. My beloved child, you were not born to live under the yoke of fear. I did not create you to keep bowing your head before the lies that say you are powerless or meaningless. You are an heir of the eternal kingdom, not by the bloodline of flesh, but by my spirit living within you. This means that even when you feel weakest, the power of heaven is still quietly flowing through your soul, like a river of life that never runs dry. I know there will be times when you doubt yourself. There are days when you look at the vastness of the world and feel far too small to make any real difference. There are nights when you grow so weary that you no longer believe you have the strength to keep moving forward. But my beloved child, even when you can no longer believe in yourself, I still believe in you. For I see the seed I planted within your soul before you were ever born. That seed may now lie beneath the cold soil of trials, but that does not mean it is dead. A seed must always pass through a dark season beneath the earth before it can break forth into the light. Look at Joseph in the prison. He may have believed the dreams I gave him would never come to pass. Yet even in that darkest place, I was still preparing him for a greater purpose. My beloved child, no season of your life is wasted. The days of waiting are producing patience within you. The failures are teaching you humility. The brokenness is softening your heart so that you may learn to love as I love. Therefore, rise and continue walking, not with the pride of this world, but with the steadiness of one who knows to whom they belong. Keep your heart tender toward the pain of others, but let your soul remain firm in truth. Carry light into every cold place through which you walk. Do not fear if the world does not understand you. Light has never needed darkness to accept it in order to shine. You were not sent into this world to be recognized or applauded by everyone. You were sent to reflect me in the midst of this world. And every time you continue loving in the midst of hatred, continue hoping in the midst of disappointment, and continue standing firm through days of shaking, you are proving before heaven and earth that the light of heaven is still alive within a world longing to be redeemed. My beloved child, now let your soul become still like a lake after the passing of a great wind. Do not keep running through the countless voices of this world. Do not allow your mind to be dragged endlessly by noise, worries, and pressures surrounding you. Be still before me. Let the words I have planted within your heart sink deeply, like the first rain of the season falling upon long dry ground. For there are things that can only take root in silence. There are healings that only begin when the soul stops resisting and learns how to rest within my love. My beloved child, this is not the end of the journey you have walked through. This is the dawn of a new season, a season in which you will no longer walk like one lost, trying to find worth in the eyes of the world. I am leading you into a deeper place of understanding, where you will realize that your name has been written in heaven not as some distant idea, but as a living truth covering your life every day. When you awaken, heaven knows your name. When you weep in the night, heaven listens. When you rise again after every fall, heaven rejoices because the light is still burning within your soul. My beloved child, I do not only see the version of you that others see today. I see you through the eyes of eternity. I see every crossroads you have walked through, every silent battle within your heart that no one else has known. I see the moments when you stood between two choices, between responding with bitterness or walking in love, between holding on to pain or offering forgiveness, between pleasing the flesh or remaining faithful to the light. And my beloved child, there have been many times when you chose what was right, even though it wounded your own heart. I have seen it all. When you remain silent instead of arguing to defend your pride, the world may think you are weak, but heaven hears a song of victory rising from your soul. When you choose to pray for those who wounded you instead of cursing them, darkness trembles before a kind of strength it cannot understand. Hatred is natural to the world, but forgiveness is the mark of heaven. Upon the cross itself, in the midst of pain and betrayal, I prayed for those who nailed me there. And every time you choose to love through pain, you are reflecting my very heart into this world. Remember Stephen, who was stoned amid the fury of the crowd. As blood and tears mingled together, he did not curse those who were killing him. He lifted his eyes toward heaven and asked me to forgive them. My beloved child, that is the kind of love that causes hell itself to tremble, a love that refuses to let darkness turn it into darkness. And every time you choose light in the midst of hurt, your soul steps deeper into the very nature of heaven. I know there are times when you grow weary of always choosing what is right in a world so accustomed to what is wrong. There are moments when you wonder whether your quiet sacrifices truly make any difference at all. But my child, do not forget that a seed beneath the soil is still growing, even when human eyes cannot yet see it. Your choices of love are creating waves of light far beyond what you can understand today. There are souls who will be healed, simply because they once encountered someone like you, someone who refused to let darkness harden their heart. And when you think you are merely living ordinary days, heaven sees a far greater story unfolding. A soul learning how to love as I love. A heart becoming both tender and strong. A person no longer living only for themselves, but becoming a place through which my presence touches others. My beloved child, let your heart rest in this truth. I am more proud of you than you realize. Not because you have never failed, but because after everything you have been through, you still continue returning to the light. After being wounded, you still choose love. After disappointment, you still choose faith. After wanting to close your heart, you still allow mercy to prevail. And every time you do this, a portion of heaven is revealed upon the earth through your life. Therefore, now, be still before me. Do not fear the future. Do not strive to see the entire road ahead. Simply remain in my love one day at a time. Let the whisper of my spirit guide you through this new season. And then you will realize that the greatest thing I have ever done was not merely changing the circumstances around you, but transforming your soul itself into a dwelling place for eternal light. My beloved child, heaven is moving not because you are perfect, but because you belong to me, and every heartbeat of love within your heart is echoing all the way into eternity. My beloved child, let your heart rest in this truth. You have never been forgotten, not even for a single moment. There are days when you look around and see only silence, prayers that seem unanswered, and your own footsteps walking a long road with no companion beside you. But my child, it is precisely in those moments when you feel most alone that I am nearer to you than ever before. I do not always reveal my presence through loud displays or dazzling miracles. Sometimes I am simply there, like a quiet warmth, keeping your soul from breaking apart. Sometimes I walk beside you so gently that you do not even realize it is my hand holding you steady through each passing day. Remember Hagar in the wilderness, when she believed she had been abandoned with her child in a dry place without escape. I called her by name. I opened her eyes to see that the well had already been there all along. My beloved child, many times you also think you are wandering through a lonely desert. Yet I have never left the place where you stand. There are wells of grace I have already prepared for you, simply waiting for the moment when the eyes of your soul are opened to recognize that I have been caring for you every day. Every prayer you whisper in the darkness of night is heard by me. Some words you speak aloud, while others are only sighs no one understands except me. But none of them fall into meaningless emptiness. I have gathered every one of your prayers like a father cherishing letters from a beloved child. Psalm 56:8 says that I keep your tears in my bottle. This means not one pain of yours is treated lightly in heaven. The tears you have shed in faithfulness, in love, in waiting, and in hope are becoming precious jewels in eternity. My beloved child, do not let anxiety about tomorrow steal the peace of today. The world changes quickly. There are people who once promised to stay, yet eventually walked away. There are things that seem certain today, but become different tomorrow. But my love for you does not change with time or circumstance. Jesus Christ is the same yesterday, today, and forever. As Hebrews 13:8 declares, when everything around you begins to shake, remember that I remain the solid rock beneath your feet. I will be your light through the darkest stretches of your journey. There are seasons when you cannot see the future and do not understand why things are happening as they are. Yet I am still guiding you step by step. Just as the people of Israel were led by the pillar of cloud by day and the pillar of fire by night through the wilderness, I am also leading you through lands you have never walked before. You may not see the entire journey, but you do not need to see everything in order to be safe. You only need to know that I am walking ahead of you. My beloved child, there were times when you fell down and believed you no longer had the strength to rise again. There were nights when you fought battles with fear that no one else could see. There were moments when you doubted yourself and wondered whether your faith was still strong enough. But hear me clearly, none of those things diminish your worth in my eyes. I do not love you less because you have been weak. On the contrary, it is through those very seasons that your soul has learned depths of truth that an easy life could never teach. If you had never been weak, you would find it difficult to understand grace. If you had never walked through darkness, you would not recognize how precious the light truly is. If you had never been wounded, you would struggle to learn mercy toward others. My beloved child, the wounds you carry are not proof of failure. Many times they are signs that you have lived, fought, loved, and continued walking even while in great pain. Remember Jacob after the night he wrestled with the angel. He came out with a wound in his hip, but he also came out with a new name and a new destiny. There are encounters with me that will leave marks upon your soul. But those marks do not make you weaker. They make you more real, deeper, and closer to me. You have grown in seasons no one else saw. The roots of your faith have reached deep into the soil of darkness and tears. And now, my child, I am bringing you into the light with a strength that no longer comes from the confidence of the flesh, but from trust in me. Therefore, stop seeing yourself through the eyes of disappointment. See yourself through my eyes, eyes that behold a soul that did not give up, a child who kept returning to the light, even after many moments of wanting to collapse, a heart that learned to love even when it was not loved in return the way it had hoped. My beloved child, you are stronger than you think, not because you have never cried, but because after all those tears, you have still continued walking with me. Now lift up your head. Step into the new season with peace in your heart. Do not fear tomorrow, for I am already in your tomorrow. Do not fear the darkness, for my light is within you. And whenever you feel weary or lost, simply call, Father, and you will discover that I have never been far away. I have always been right here, closer than the breath you carry within you. My beloved child, keep your soul awake in an age where truth and falsehood stand very close to one another. Do not think that everything which appears gentle comes from the light. There are words that sound sweet, yet quietly sow confusion into your mind. There are embraces that do not come to heal, but to drain your spiritual strength. There are people who enter your life wearing the face of concern, yet deep inside they are seeking something for themselves more than truly loving you. Therefore, my child, I am not calling you to live in fear or suspicion of everyone. I am calling you to live with discernment, the gentle light that allows you to see clearly without letting your heart become bitter. Remember that darkness does not always come in a frightening form. Sometimes it dresses itself in attraction, in beautiful promises, in things that easily stir your emotions. From the very beginning in the Garden of Eden, the tempter did not appear with the roar of a wild beast, but with a voice that was soft, reasonable, and very close to what Eve wanted to hear. My beloved child, that is why you must stay close to me rather than trusting only your passing emotions. For not everything that moves your heart is something I have sent. I have placed within you the ability to perceive more deeply than natural eyes can see. There are times when everything appears normal on the outside and the words being spoken still sound gentle. Yet deep within your soul you feel an uneasiness you cannot explain. Do not be quick to dismiss it as excessive sensitivity. Many times, it is my spirit whispering a warning to you through a very quiet stillness. Just as Elijah heard my voice, not in the great wind, not in the earthquake, not in the fire, but in a still small voice. You too will learn to recognize my guidance through the deep movements within your spirit. There are people who will enter your life as gifts from heaven. They come to support you, encourage you, and help your soul grow in the light. But there are also people who appear only to test your heart. Not everyone has the right to touch the deepest places of your soul. Not everyone should be given the key of trust. My beloved child, I did not create you to be ground where anyone may walk freely and leave behind chaotic footprints. I created you as a garden tended by my own hand. And in that garden, not every seed is allowed to take root. Remember Samson. He was given great strength. Yet what caused him to fall was not the battlefield, but the person to whom he opened his heart in the wrong way. There are doors that, if you open them merely because of emotion or loneliness, will allow things not sent by me to enter and slowly drain the strength within your soul. Therefore, do not call the setting of boundaries a lack of love. Even I establish holy boundaries in order to protect what is precious. True love does not mean allowing everyone unrestricted access to wound your soul. True love knows when to open the heart and when to step back in peace. My beloved child, there have been seasons when you believed that giving unconditionally was always the right thing. You opened your heart to everyone, tried to heal everyone, and carried burdens that were never yours to carry. But then your soul became exhausted because you were trying to hold on to people whom I never asked you to keep. Listen carefully to me. Love does not mean losing yourself. Even I did not chase after every crowd. There were moments when I withdrew into quiet places to pray. There were people I healed, but there were also those whom I allowed to choose their own path. My child, spiritual wisdom understands that not every battle has been assigned to you. I do not want your heart to become hardened because of past wounds, but neither do I want you to keep handing your soul over to hands that have not yet learned how to cherish the sacred things I placed within you. A gentle heart does not mean a heart without doors. A beautiful garden always has a gate not to keep love out, but to protect the life within from what seeks to destroy it. And my beloved child, do not fear the trials I allow to pass through your life. There are encounters I use to reveal what is truly within your heart. There are relationships I allow to be shaken so that you may clearly see what comes from genuine love and what comes only from fear of loneliness or the need for approval. I do not allow trials to destroy you. I allow them to refine your discernment so you may learn to distinguish between what is true and what is false. Remember Solomon when he asked me for wisdom to discern rightly between good and evil. My child, what you need is not only a heart that knows how to love, but spiritual eyes that know how to see. For there are things that appear beautiful outwardly, yet carry no life within them. There are roads that feel pleasant in the beginning, but ultimately lead the soul into confusion. But if you remain close to me, my spirit will guide you step by step. I will give you peace when something belongs to me, and a holy uneasiness when something is not right for your soul. Therefore, my beloved child, continue loving, but love with the wisdom of heaven. Keep your heart soft, but do not let it be ruled by every passing emotion. Open your heart to those whom I send, but also be brave enough to release what does not belong to the journey I have prepared for you. Then you will learn that spiritual maturity is not about closing your heart to the world, but about knowing who is allowed to enter the sacred garden I am tending within you. My beloved child, do not exhaust your soul trying to become what everyone else expects you to be. I did not create you to live as a mirror reflecting the expectations of the world. You were not born to chase applause, nor to trade the peace of your soul for the temporary acceptance of crowds. There are paths the world calls success that slowly pull your heart away from the light. There are directions approved by many people that carry none of my breath within them. Therefore, my child, if there are seasons when your steps move more slowly than others, if your journey causes you to separate from the noise surrounding you, do not be afraid. A seed does not grow amid loud display and commotion. It takes root in hidden and quiet places before it rises into the light. My beloved child, there are seasons when I lead you away from the crowd, not to isolate you, but to keep your soul from losing itself. Moses had to leave the noise of Egypt in order to encounter me in the wilderness. Elijah had to enter the quiet cave to hear my voice after the wind, the earthquake, and the fire. And even I often withdrew into lonely places to pray when the crowds pressed too closely around me. My child, there are things that can only be heard when the soul becomes still enough. For my voice does not compete with chaos. It comes like a gentle breath that brings peace to your heart. Do not mistake loneliness for abandonment. There are roads you must walk that few people will understand, but that does not mean you are walking alone. In the deepest silences of your life, I am holding your hand more tightly than you realize. When you feel that your path is different from the rest of the world, remember that Noah also built the ark amid mocking laughter. Abraham also left his homeland without knowing where he was going. And the disciples also left behind their fishing nets to follow a calling that not everyone could understand. My beloved child, many times the right road will not be the crowded one. I want you to remain grounded in both love and truth. Love without truth will cause you to lose discernment, while truth without love will turn the heart cold and sharp. I did not create you to become hardened because of pain. I want you to be strong while remaining gentle, clear while still full of mercy. I myself am the perfect union of both light that is not blind and truth that is not cruel. And when you stay close to me, your soul will also learn how to love without losing itself. My beloved child, your soul is not a place where anyone may enter freely. It is not a room thrown open for every word, every intention, and every chaotic energy to pass through at will. I have chosen your soul as a temple for my presence, and what is sacred must always be guarded. Even the ancient temple had a holy of holies into which not everyone was permitted to enter. In the same way, I do not want you to hand the deepest places of your heart to those who have not learned how to honor what is holy. Remember Nehemiah as he rebuilt the walls of Jerusalem. Others mocked him, threatened him, and tried to distract him. But he did not leave his position to run after every outside voice. My child, you also must learn how to guard the walls around your soul, in the same way, not through fear, but through discernment. Some boundaries are not built out of coldness, but because what lies within is too precious to be carelessly violated. My beloved child, true discernment does not come from tension or suspicion toward everything. It is born from closeness with me. When your heart rests in my peace, your soul begins to recognize the rhythm of truth. There are people who enter your life carrying a deep peace, even though they never try to prove themselves. There are souls whose mere presence causes your heart to open like a flower meeting the sunlight. This is because my spirit within them resonates with my spirit within you. But there are also people who appear gentle on the outside, yet inwardly make your soul feel heavy. It is not because you are difficult or overthinking. There are moments when my spirit within you is gently touching your heart as a warning. I do not speak to you only through great and dramatic things. I also speak through very small movements within your spirit, a slight uneasiness, a change in your breathing, an unexplained sense of drawing back. Do not disregard those signs simply because your mind has not yet found an explanation. My beloved child, many times the soul recognizes truth before the mind is able to understand it. Remember Solomon when he asked me for a discerning heart. He did not ask first for power or wealth. He asked for the ability to recognize what is true among countless things that are false. And this pleased me. My child, this is also the gift I am nurturing within you, spiritual eyes that can see deeper than outward appearances, ears that can hear beneath the layer of words, and a heart that can sense truth in silence. Therefore, do not force yourself to always explain why your heart feels unsettled about something. Do not blame yourself for needing to step back from places that rob your soul of peace. There are times when stepping back is not weakness, it is the wisdom of light. And do not close your heart because of old wounds. Continue to love, but love with the discernment of heaven. My beloved child, now breathe in slowly. Do not try to manufacture strength for yourself. Simply remain near me long enough, and that strength will naturally flow into your soul like cool water. Faith is not straining yourself to believe by force. Faith is resting deeply enough to hear me whisper, I am here. And when you truly hear that, every other noise will gradually lose its power over your heart.